Sorry, guys. I'm not sure what I've uh, I'm not sure what I just did. Okay. Let me also get some stuff here on the screen. Okay. So, hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. Yes. Yes, been a crazy weekend. How's everyone doing? Let me get some cards out. I'm loving all the blue cards and of course my handy dandy witchy one. So, energy's definitely been nutty. It's been good, but nutty. And it's definitely been something that has caused a lot of contemplation, I'd say. The energies of the past week. Maybe past. What's wrong with you? You're making all those sounds. The past week, maybe 2 weeks. A lot of energy fluctuations and things like that. And a lot of what's happening right now has to do with the recalibration. Okay. It's been a lot of things recalibrating. And if you're able to not interfere with your own recalibration process, it becomes something really, really beautiful. So I do want to bring something up though. I do definitely want to bring something up. Ooh. Before I pull cards, I'm doing a project. It's a huge project that I'm undertaking. And it's definitely something near and dear to my heart. So for those of you who follow me on social media, you probably have already seen this, but I'm gonna talk about it really quick anyways. Okay. Let me just drink something real quick. All right. So let me just breathe. So I brought up this project that I'm doing. It originally started as an idea for a podcast episode. And the episode is going to be about remote healing. For many of you who don't know what I actually do in my day to day, I mean, do you guys know what my actual like day job is? What I actually do has nothing to do with tarot readings. I kind of just do these tarot readings as a way to focus my attention. I have ADHD, and so I kind of lose track of what I'm talking about very easily. And so the cards keep me on track in regards to what the messages are going to be for that live stream. That's why I use cards. I don't read cards in the traditional sense. Okay. I use the cards to focus my attention on what my intuitive, I guess, system is picking up on for a message for all of us. And my day job, I do a lot of work. Okay. I do a lot of different types of energetic work. I don't identify as an energy worker. I don't identify as any of those other things. I can say that I can do morphogenetic recalibrations. I can say that I facilitate people's self-healing journey. Well, when I began to talk to Ocean Lover about some ideas for podcasts, the topic of remote healing came up. And the reason that came up was as I was writing, I also teach. I teach quite a bit on energetic things. And as I was preparing for one of my classes, I began to have this theory kind of come up um, regarding deep brain stimulation and pain reduction for people who experience chronic pain. And so I kind of made a little post on Facebook, my personal profile. Like I was looking for a couple people who would be willing to allow me to try this. Now it's deep brain stimulation. I would be remotely accessing your brain and stimulating certain portions to increase your pain threshold and decrease the hyper firing of all of your neurons, right? And so I did help a couple people. The my theory panned out to be very accurate and very efficient. And then so when the topic came up of what should we do for a podcast episode, I suggested remote healing. Well, this is kind of snowballed to the degree that it's scary. It's scary for me. It really, really is. I don't like to really talk too much about the gravity of the work that I do. I just don't. I like to kind of downplay it and minimize it a little bit. And the thing is, the work that I do, to say that it's cutting edge is to downplay it. To say that I'm pioneering an entire field is to downplay it. The work that I do is something that can be life altering. It can be life altering for the people who allow me the space to do the work that I do. And so then comes this need. It's a need for me to actually begin um, documenting a few things. So I'm looking for volunteers. If you would like to experience what I'm doing, I want you to go ahead and go check this out, okay? This is a special remote healing project that I'm working on. I'm going to be selecting a couple people, and these people need to have chronic pain. They need to have a medically documented condition. And when you allow me to do this, we're going to be working on first addressing whatever it is that needs to be addressed, whether it's to give you some pain care or to begin stabilizing your condition. That's what we're going to do. Now, just because you submit an application doesn't mean you'll be chosen, okay? Just because you have headaches, that doesn't necessarily mean like I'm going to select you. What I am looking for are true medical conditions that are medically documented. You have those brain scans that tell me, that prove to me that you have this condition. Perfect. Perfect. You have an actual diagnosis. Perfect. I'm looking to document the work that I'm doing. And I'm not trying to prove that I'm a healer. I'm trying to document what it is I do. Okay. And so parts of these recorded sessions, all of my sessions are recorded, but I do not release them publicly. For this particular project, I have intention to release portions of it publicly. Now, I don't really want to release more medically sensitive information than is absolutely necessary to get an idea of what it is I'm working on. In regards to people who participate, of course, I don't want to release your entire life story. No, whatever is absolutely necessary, that's what will be included. So if you want to be a part of this, if you have a condition where the doctors have basically just given up on you, if you have some type of condition that, again, medically documented, and you want to try it out, you want to see if I can help, go to that link that's on the screen right now, soulworksynergistics.com/RHP submission. Okay. So RHP stands for Remote Healing Project submission. If that's something that interests you, go apply over there, and I'll be selecting people from that pool. If you've already contacted me through social media, please reapply over there if that's something that you really, really, truly want to be a part of. I'm looking for people with some pretty complex type medical concerns. Nothing is too extreme. I'm looking for extreme. You have cardiac issues, neurological issues, autoimmune conditions. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for backaches. I mean, I could help with that, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for true medical conditions. Okay. I want to be able to document more of my personal life. That's not really something that I share publicly. That's something I consider more of my personal life. And so I'm finding the courage to share more. The gravity of the work that I do, I don't think it really can be explained in one live stream. I don't think it really can be explained in one podcast. I think it's something that, I don't know. I don't know. I think I just got bamboozled. I thought it was going to be for a podcast. It might be for a documentary. If you want to be a part of that, go to the link on the screen, okay? I'll let it crawl on the bottom of the screen. I really thought it was just for a podcast. Let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're approaching the final week for the raffle. If you want to kind of help out and support what it is we do, or what I do, the work that I do, you can definitely go to soulworksynergistics.com/raffle. This will help me bring my team closer to where the sanctuary is going to be, and we'll be able to really push forward for that sanctuary, the soul sanctuary, to happen. I also have 3 new events that, if you're interested in learning opportunities, you can go to soulworksynergistics.com/projects. With that, I do have 3 events. If you have chronic pain, I don't want to minimize what you're going through. Chronic pain sucks really, really bad. I've lived through that for quite a few years. So you can go to soulworksynergistics.com/projects, and you'll be able to see that I have a very, very reasonably priced event. And that event is the Comfort Care live stream. Okay. It is going to be something that is exclusive. Only people who opt to participate in that will be allowed. It's not going to be something publicly visible. And in that private event, what I'm going to be doing is accessing certain portions of your template. I'm going to be accessing certain areas of your etheric brain to kind of give you some palliative care. Okay. This is to help with chronic pain. Chronic pain sucks. So, I mean, obviously, I can't cure your chronic pain in a group setting. That would be irresponsible of me to even attempt. But I can absolutely provide palliative care for you in a group setting. That's something that's well within my capability. So, if that's something you want to be part of, definitely go to soulworksynergistics.com/projects. That's something that's going to be coming up soon. I do have several other events that are coming up. The cord workshop, where I go in depth about cords, how to maintain yours, how to keep yourself healthy with the existence of cords in your field. That's something that's going to be coming up. And then there was another one. Ooh, yes, a cooperative challenge. This is um, a 4 week type event where we come together as a virtual tribe and we kind of work on our primary struggles, emotional, social, familial. Those primary struggles, man, they wreak havoc on our perception, our sense of self, the way we move through our lives. And it's a 4 week challenge. We meet once a week, and with that challenge we'll be able to come together. You'll be given specific tasks to do to kind of begin your process of self-empowerment. So if you want to be part of something like that, all of these I made sure to keep it reasonably priced, just so that more people will have the ability to participate. I know a lot of people want to participate in a lot of the things that I do. So I'm trying to be mindful of the economic environment we live in. All right, let's get started for real. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is working on the courage to say something life changing. Working on the courage to say something life changing. So, with the things that are going on, for many of us, we really don't understand why things are going the way they're going, why we even have to say anything. Shouldn't people already know? And no, they shouldn't. They don't already know. There's a lot of conversation that needs to take place that hasn't been taking place because we don't have the courage to say what we need to say. And that needs to change. Okay. That definitely needs to change. It needs to be something that we begin um, really focusing on, this courage to say what needs to be said, not what we think other people want to hear. All right. So we're being asked to step out of this emotional winter that we have been existing in for so long. All of these attempts to quiet your needs, to quiet your truth. There was something that was very, very just, I don't know. It really, really rubbed me yesterday. Um, I saw this post and it was something about, let me see. It says, your child doesn't owe you anything, not good grades, not good moods, not nights without waking up, not eating every bite, not loving every activity, not yes. Your child doesn't owe you anything just because you're an adult. Sit with this for as long as you need. And so I kind of like was reading through the comments, and a couple comments really struck me. A couple comments really struck me, and I was trying to just silently read it, but I had to comment. One person, and I'm not trying to shame anyone, but these are things that I really was just like, This person wrote, does the entitlement industry sell a manual for each rare soul? There's enough alienation in families. Reconciliation is spiritual courage in all relationships. What? Reconciliation is spiritual courage in all relationships. We're mastering lessons about love's program. What? What? And I had to sit with that for a few minutes because I was like, love is a program? Spiritual courage? So I commented, please take care not to shame the people that actually need the support, and all in name of spiritual courage. There's nothing spiritual about volunteering to be the whipping child. Programs have nothing to do with love, and love cannot be part of any program. Programs involve indoctrination and domination of one over the will of another. That's what a program is, where regardless of what You want and need. You have to go with the program. Your needs are irrelevant because something was already pre-constructed. And I had to sit and kind of think, because it was really this thing of like, what what are you talking about? That is the same exact argument that I have received my entire life because I refuse to go with the program. First, I did it silently. And then after a while, I got so fed up. And then someone tagged me, someone separate from the original commenter tagged me and was like, I think what she's trying to say is that, like, a child needs to be balanced and blah, blah, blah. And I wish I screenshotted it because it looks like they've removed their comment. To which point, and they were like, no beef. I'm like, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm just trying to help you understand basically what the original commenter said. And they were like, and I'm a whipping child. I'm a former whipping child. And so I responded with, I was a whipping child as well. And I can definitely see the different ways this can be received. And that's why I was saying to take care in not shaming those who have already heard that same sentiment be used to manipulate them. I don't think we should encourage a continuation of being angry either. We all read what others write through the filter of our own traumas, so my intent was merely to shed light on what my own filters brought to my attention about where I am in my process of self-healing. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with me. I feel when we can simply speak with each other, when we have different viewpoints, that's what helps to heal and reunify. Balance can only occur if all components can find their proper place. So reunifying in that same toxic space will not end familial alienation. I'm also a black sheep. Not only was I a whipping child, I was also the black sheep. I still am. I still am. And that's the thing. A lot of this, I had commented and then it was kind of like, oh, dang it. Did I go ahead and insert myself into something? Because really there was no one arguing on there, right? There's no one arguing. Just the original person commented what they commented. And I responded. And then someone else tagged me. And I responded again. And again, I'm not trying to argue. And I got curious. And I clicked on the original comments profile. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. This person is followed by 13,510 people. And I tag them. This is going to be very interesting because when that first person tagged me in response, I was like, I saw that. And I was like, I wonder if all of her followers are now going to get on my ass about not agreeing. And I considered deleting it. I considered deleting my comment because it's kind of just like, girl, are you stirring shit up? Are you stirring shit up on Facebook? This is why you're not allowed to scroll through Facebook. And I seriously considered deleting it simply because people believe what they believe. And I believe what I believe. Do I feel like I have to argue with however many people are going to see that I tagged her and they're all going to come and tag me? And so I considered deleting it. But why do I have to shut myself up just because I disagree in a respectful way? Where the floor is now open for discourse, for symposium. And I said to myself, fuck it, that shit stays up. I wasn't disrespectful. I'm not trying to correct. I'm trying to speak my truth based on what I perceive you said as it is filtered through the traumas of my life. And if no one is going to find the courage to begin contradicting this love program, then I will have failed at whatever I was born to do. So I told myself, put the phone down. If there's a war to be fought in the morning, at least you'll have good sleep before you start. But I will not shut myself up anymore, especially when I can approach a comment in a way that is respectful to all involved, simply a sharing of a differing opinion. A lot of the people who peddle these love programs are people who don't know what they're talking about because they weren't the whipping child. They aren't the black sheep. That's not to say they didn't have a difficult childhood. But it is to say that when I'm moved to say something, which I rarely comment on other people's posts because of that, I don't want argument. I rarely comment. And if I comment, I have to stick to my guns. I have to stick to it. I have to conduct myself with the courage to speak truths that will reverberate long after I'm done having that conversation. So, working on the courage to say something life changing. Sometimes you're just sharing your perception, and that's life changing. Sometimes what you're sharing is this magical power of clarity. Clarity can come in so many different forms. Clarity sometimes is provided to us through the traumas that we live. You don't have to be ashamed that you are a traumatized person. Trauma does not make you weak. Trauma, when properly processed, makes you so unfuckwithable. And that's kind of where I am approaching at this point. Do I need to continue manifesting this upside down perception of who I am, what I'm here to do, how much I can say, how little I can say? See this right here. Thank you, Inanna Pisces. Oh my gosh. That was my great grandmother's. That's what we called her, Inanna. We called her Inanna, and she had purple eyes. Her eyes were violet. Oh. Um, this sentiment right here, speaking my truth, they are not enlightened. I am the black sheep, and I don't care to hide it. How do you know they're not enlightened? How do you know that you are? And this is a question for all of us. We all are fractals of light condensed into flesh. We all are varying shades of that light because we are varying frequency bands. We all have our proper place. And see, the thing is this: when you take a rainbow, that's white light separated in all its different frequencies, right? You run that through a prism and it bends the light, and it causes this singularity to become all of these different components. We all are enlightened. We are an enlightened species. We are an enlightened species. And just because the color of their light does not match yours or the intensity of yours does not mean they don't have a proper place. But see, here's the thing. Here's your answer to my question, because they tried to shut me up. But isn't that what you do as well? When you refuse to allow them to have a voice, is that not what you do as well? Would it not be more powerful to simply exist, allow someone else to exist, and you exist with no shame, no hesitation, no shrinking, no backing away? This existence where, you know what, we don't agree. It's okay for us to not agree. But you don't get to downplay the gravity of my existence. You don't get to downplay, you don't get to tell me any of that. But you do get to share space with me when you approach me in a respectful way where we can converse, we can disagree, we can come together as a unified species with zero agreement. Zero agreement. And the thing is that when you know better, when you are more aware, you are more obligated to share that level of awareness, to simply share that, hey, I used to think that. I don't think that anymore because I went through this journey and this is where I'm at right now. And this is where I've learned. And I'm wondering if me sharing this with you will help you to further you along your journey as well. Right? But see, here's the thing, and this is what I'm trying to show you. You say, I'm not a fighter, just don't judge me. But that tells me when you put that frame of mind into this conversation, notice how you didn't write the word but. I naturally included that because that is part of the statement you've written. I am this, but you carry so much power and influence over me that you can make me that by doing this. There's no power in that. If I am not a fighter, I am not a fighter. I am not a fighter. I am not a fighter. But I will not be quiet because speaking is not fighting. It is expression of truth. It is expression of differences. And I don't have to be moved from who I am in order to accommodate someone else's toxicity. And this is kind of what I've been mulling over since I went to bed last night, this realization that, you know, a lot of the things that need to be said are things that people are not going to want to hear. Because again, all of us, every single last one of us, we will process what information we receive through the filters of our trauma. Now, did I say at any point that, Inanna, you're wrong? Because I don't think you're wrong. I think you're at a certain level of understanding your journey. And you've been conditioned to feel as though you have to fight to exist at this point. You don't want to, but you're going to be forced to if someone doesn't respect it. And it's like, I was there not that long ago. And then I realized there's nothing powerful about that space for me. It might feel powerful for someone else, but not for me. And as I continue to grow and expand my awareness, I need to continue to find the courage to say the life-changing things that my soul brings me to share. And I don't know if you guys notice this, how powerful of a space where you can be the very thing that triggers my remembrance of something important or inspires me to share a little bit more about my own perceptions. These are just my perceptions, my opinions. These are not absolutes. But do you see the power that you carry? You intrinsically have this power that you can affect the environment you enter just by speaking your truth. I mean, if we can consciously harness that, the world becomes a very profound space to exist within. Very, very profound, where simple conversation, simple holding space to converse with people that you might not know, it becomes something that carries with it the ability to change far, far beyond the end of that simple conversation. So ethos, we're here to begin really shifting that ethos. The manifestation went upside down, right? The ethos will right side it up. The ethos will get it right side up. You have to allow yourself to exist in environments where you can be who you are. We don't all have to be in the same space or level or intensity of spiritual development. Spirituality is something you live and experience, not something you spout off about. What triggered me personally about the comment that started this conversation, I would like to quote it because I don't remember here. Does the entitlement industry sell a manual for each rare soul? There's enough alienation in families. Reconciliation is spiritual courage in all relations. Spiritual courage. To reconcile with someone who abused you? It is my humble opinion that that is spiritual stupidity. There's nothing courageous about going back to the same places where you were treated less than so that you can continue to be treated less than. There is nothing spiritually courageous about establishing peace in an external environment at the cost of your internal peace. How do I know this? Because I've done that my whole life. I've done that my whole life. I've shut myself up my whole life to maintain a peace that never existed in an environment so toxic that my body became ill. It takes more spiritual courage to have no fear of being alone. It takes more spiritual courage to walk away from those places of toxic comfort. You know what to expect there. Why do you think I'm such a highly developed empath? Much of my life, I've lived in toxicity. I've learned to read rooms, not because it's a gift, but because I needed to survive. I'm done merely surviving other people's moods. I'm done merely surviving other people's trauma responses. I'm done being the whipping child, the scapegoat, the black sheep. It takes tremendous amounts of spiritual courage to enter into the part of your life where you exist as a goddess in the flesh. That takes spiritual courage in communities that would flambe you for not following the program. I know they tried with me several times. I didn't follow the program. Those who know me from Facebook, those who've been here since way, way, way before, you know, you weren't even allowed to be caught on my live stream. That would be reported back. It would be reported back to the leader of the group, and you'd be in trouble. You would be ostracized. Yeah. So I know exactly what it's like. And that's how I learned, because I experienced it. If you experience a lot in life, it's not because you have shitty luck. It's not because this is your karma and you're being punished. It's because you're being prepared by your own life for a purpose so profound. The only way to prepare is to live through the very thing you will help others through. And if that's the case, if my theory is correct, to remain silent on the things you've learned because of your life experiences, it is to reject your purpose and yourself as the gift that you are for other people in your life. I have to always live my truth. I always have to live my purpose. And if my purpose involves me speaking on things that are difficult for other people to hear, please have a seat, get real comfortable, get yourself a drink, because you're going to hear a lot of difficult things every single time you share space with me. But I promise you, just like when a workout gets difficult, it's because you are growing. That is your evidence of your process of growth, the difficulty you experience and eventually surmount. Security. You're secure within your own space. You are secure within your own life. It is your perception of lack of security that causes you to allow yourself to be susceptible to other people's efforts to derail your growth. I used to allow that. Now, I'm worth going to war for. I'm worth whatever fight I am going to give in order to maintain my peace. I'm worth it. When was the last time you said you were worth it and acted like you are? See, that's the thing. In spiritual communities, you will often hear talk about your self-worth, about self-love, this and that, shadow, blah, 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 inner child, and da, 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 da. And it's like, we need more than to just talk about it. We need to be about it. We need to do, not just talk. We need to do. And unless you begin living, acting like you are worth it, are you really worth it? Are you? Or are you just trying to convince yourself of something that you don't quite believe? You know, it's like the difference between fake it till you make it and my logic, which is do it till you are it. Keep doing it until you are it, until you achieve whatever it is you've set your mind to achieving. How do I know that I will achieve everything that I set my mind to? Because I never stop until I do. Because that's just how I am. I never stop until I do. And I do not to prove to anyone else outside of me. I do it to prove to myself that I'm not a liar, that I didn't imagine it. And then I carry on once it's done. When was the last time you did something until you actually achieved whatever it is that you are trying to achieve? What is it? What are you trying to achieve? Peace? You cannot have peace until you remove the people who continue to try and take your peace from you. You can't. You can't. You won't. Not until that's removed. It's like having a pebble in your shoe and trying to tell yourself that you are going to will the sensation of the rock in your shoe away from your mind because you're powerful. You want to hear something even more powerful? Stop what you're doing for a moment, take off your damn shoe, and remove the rock. Remove the rock. And then you don't have to put any effort into it. You can then go ahead and continue walking and enjoy wherever you're walking to, rather than walking, trying to force yourself into a space of I'm enjoying myself, but really you're not. Really, you're merely in a place of feigning enjoyment You have to remove the thing that removes you from your peace. Someone regrets you going away. This is about to get dicey. Someone regrets you going away. They always do. Toxic people will always regret you being released back into the wild, back into the world, when they see you thriving in their absence. Because then it becomes this thing of like, how dare you? I didn't give you permission to thrive. You were supposed to miss me and pine away for me. And, you weren't supposed to move on. How many of you are experiencing this? How many of you are experiencing this? Where someone has excused you from their presence, thinking that you would crumble, only for you to begin thriving, and now they want you back. I like to say, not my monkey, not my circus. Masculine in reverse. All right. The secret's coming out. They can't keep it hidden. The boundaries are being cut. Their intention, look at this, is to bring you back. This has to do with that upside down masculine. They can't contain the secrets any further, right? They don't want to be protected from you. They don't know what to do with the boundaries that have been set. They don't know how to circumvent that. They're not going to get over this. All right. Soul journey overcome. They're on this entire journey. They've been on this journey for quite some time. They haven't been able to overcome they haven't been able to overcome that fish. You're making my Filipino come out. Overcome. They haven't been able to overcome that fish. So there's just a lot of stuff. I want to share this. So we homeschool, right? We've been homeschooling my kids' entire lives, and my kids are ridiculously brilliant. And my youngest comes up to me this morning. It's not even 8:00 yet. He's already started his schoolwork. He does his schoolwork 7 days a week because of his choice. So he started his schoolwork and he's like, Mommy, I learned about parasites today. Not energetic parasites, but parasites. And he starts telling me, because my chujaja, my chiweenie, my girl Joy, was being weird yesterday. She didn't want anyone to come near me, and she's trying to defend me. I was playing with my kids and tickling one of them, and she tried to half-ass charge at him. She wouldn't bite them, but just the fact that she in his direction, right? I'm like, what are you doing? And then she stopped and I don't know. And so my youngest says to me this morning something along the lines of, maybe Joy has a parasite because her aggression was unnatural yesterday, right? And it's this thing of, Is there dark interference? Are you feeling aggressive towards certain types of subject matter in your life? It totally reminds me of that conversation, this really quick conversation I had with my youngest this morning, and he was telling me about how the parasites he learned about a type of parasite that infiltrates the hive mind of ants, and that he gets it, not he, but the parasite gets it to climb up very, very high in the tree, right? And once it gets to the leaves, he goes, and that's it. Once it reaches the leaves, that's it. And I said, why does it get the ant to throw itself from the tree? And he's like, yes. He was so intense telling me. And then he's like, and then once it does that, he says, that's it. Because then it infects the entire family. And I was just like, we got a little parasitic extractor in the making here. Because it's true. Once the parasite, energetic parasite, has exploited that Trojan to the degree, the maximum degree that it possibly can, that's it. It's gained full access to the group. Now everyone's infected. Now everyone's infected. So then how do we counteract this? By speaking up when something needs to be said. By speaking up. That's how we do it. Not by arguing, not trying to force agreement, not trying to force people who are unwilling or incapable of seeing your point of view. Not trying to force them to agree with you, but just knowing this is my truth. This is my perception, and this is how my perception has affected my truth. And that is just that. That is that. That is that. So that dark interference, and then the attract sigil in reverse, it's almost this sense of like, because of how this dark interference is affecting the way you process this event, this circumstance, this need, this desire, it is actually pushing away the very thing that you want so badly to come back to you. You are pushing it away with your behaviors or lack thereof. It was poor judgment. It was poor judgment that was used, and whoever this applies to, probably the upside down male, you're already living through the end result of that poor judgment. You don't have to continue living through it if you're done learning what you needed to learn. And it's almost this thing of like past life return. I'm wondering if this is someone you have a past life connectivity with. I'm wondering if this is a person who I don't know. I don't know. How deep do you guys want me to go with this reading? How deep? How deep are you willing to go? How deep are you ready to go? Have you thought about that yet? Because we can go real deep with this, or we can just keep it superficial level and let it kind of just be what it is, something to mull over. How deep? Matthew says, I have an aggression towards wanting. I still can't feel what is driving it, so I overwork when my heart hurts for lack. Childish of me. Is it childish of you, or is it your inner child? You guys want to go real deep, are ya? Are ya? There is an abundance of depth here. Okay. There's an abundance of depth. Some would say, like, oh, abundance in reverse. Um, that means that there's no abundance, there's a lacking. No, this means it's time to deep dive. It's not a person, something is holding us back. You are that something, and you are a person. Do you know how many people have challenged me in my existence? And what has held me back? My decision to allow them to. They didn't hold me back, I did. I am that something. I am that person. I am that something. And then when I decided no more, guess what? What holds me back now? Still me, because sometimes I need to sleep. Sometimes I need a nap. Sometimes I need to eat. Sometimes I have an attitude that gets in the way of what I'm doing. But it's always at the end of the day, me. The how is probably the answer that you need to figure out on your own terms. So, going real deep, this past life returns. This window is going to close. This opportunity to allow this past life to teach you something, this past life or previous life based connection can teach you something if you're willing to learn. But see, in this environment, there's a lack of integrity and overabundance of hope and a lack of willingness for transformation. People get so caught up in what they believe is the real thing. You got to be careful about what you read online. A lot of that philosophical, spiritual stuff that you will read, these things that were gleaned from esoterica, these very, very ancient texts that present the problem and then also present the solution to those problems. See, what the spiritual people did, what the philosophical people did, they didn't continue reading. Let me say that again. They didn't continue reading. They found something to base a hypothesis on, a theory, something that sounded profound, philosophical, but never really gave any answers. You have to be careful about asking the questions or making the statements that lead you nowhere but in a circle. See, Santana Montana. Okay. I'm trying to get in control of myself right now because I'm considering coming in on a wrecking ball. Let me not. Have you ever been spanked with a brush? Because I'm about to spank myself with a brush. Let me just tell you guys, I came across this brush by accident a couple years back. Let me get my hair out of it first. I came across this brush by accident a couple years back, and it's the best detangler ever. Like the best detangling brush ever. It's by Goody, and it's like $3 or something. It's so good at detangling. It doesn't yank the hair. So let me drink something. So you want to ask this question. I'm assuming you're writing, how is it me? How is it not? How is it not you? How is it everyone else except you? How is it that it's everyone else's beliefs that are erroneous except your own? How is it not you? It's only not you if you refuse to take accountability for the life that you've lived. And if you refuse to take accountability, you refuse to grow. So then it is you. At the end of the day, it's always just you. And this isn't about blame. This is not about blame. This is about accountability, taking ownership of your life. And if you don't take ownership of your life because of the decisions you make or your decision to not make a decision, then what happens? At the end of the day, you still end up having to live through what you decided. See, that's the thing. Maybe this is not the right place for you. How can I have the same type of intense conversation with Inanna? And Inanna can absolutely like, okay, that's a different point of view. That's interesting. But then you feel that you're being judged because we're conversing. That's a major problem. That is a major problem. You were in the comments basically making statements that point the finger at everyone else. And so I addressed what you said. Who's judging you? You asked a question, I'm answering. How is that judgment? What's your definition of judgment? Because I kind of feel like we're misunderstanding the difference between judgment and condemnation. We need judgment in order to be able to determine what is appropriate and inappropriate for us in our lives. People will judge you as long as you're unable to judge for yourself the ways in which you contribute, if not fully create, the situations that you have displeasure with in your life. Don't come back until you're grown. You want to be in the comments trying to spout off all this philosophical stuff. And the moment you don't hear what you want to hear, okay, bye. I'm not going to miss you, buddy. I'm not forcing you to leave, but don't think that you are going to punish me with your absence, because you're not. All you're doing is robbing yourself of your opportunity to see yourself more clearly. You're the only one that thinks negative about yourself being held accountable for yourself. You're the only one. You're the only one. It didn't go into a negative space until you took it there. Do you see how that works? This conversation did not go into a negative space until you, Santana Montana. I don't know why that makes me laugh. It's kind of like Hannah Montana, Hannah Montana, Hannah Montana, Hannah Montana. That's what goes through my head. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with you. It's me. I didn't even really watch Hannah Montana. Oh my God. Did you guys ever watch Hannah Montana? I didn't watch it. That's why it cracks me up. Like, what is so funny about this? I don't know. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Hannah Montana. Hannah Montana. Is it French Montana that said that? It's right. Okay. I think it's some inside joke that we have, my husband and I. Was I? I went yesterday. I don't know. The whole Hannah Montana thing. It cracks me up. Anyways, this is childish. This is childish. Okay, then there's nothing to say. Bye. Yeah, there's plenty to say. There's plenty to say. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak openly, to really just say it. That kind of behavior won't be tolerated here. It just won't. It won't be tolerated here. No one is on a high horse here. Not a single person. No, not here. I don't think so. Not here. Not here. I will not do that kind of bullshit here where you can blame everyone else. I don't even know what's going on with your life. I've never spoken to you privately. I don't even know who you are. But to continuously make comments as though it is everyone else, to continuously comment because you want my attention, right? You want me to showcase you, right? And so I did, and I put your comment on the screen. And then what happened? It didn't go your way, so you had a tantrum. Nothing left to say here. Bye. Meaning, I don't want to hear it. La, 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 la. That's what that comment means. Baby boo, I have a shit ton of kids. I'm a mom. It's no loss to me if you don't need me to mother you too. I already have a lot of kids that I can mother. But just know, because I'm a mother, I can tell when a child is bullshitting me. I'm one of those moms that's like uber present, right? I pay attention to all the little things that my kids say, but I don't always say anything as I'm listening. But I can tell when you're full of shit. I can tell. I can tell when you're in avoidance of how you are the root causation of everything you go through. I'm the root causation of everything I go through. I do that to myself based on what I choose, the way I behave, the way I speak, who I speak to. I take accountability. I own everything in my life. I own every single circumstance I get myself into. Yep. And that's my expectation of everyone that joins in this space with me, to own what you say. Hey, there's nothing wrong with saying something and then that being the very thing that causes me to feel inspired to talk about something else. And that something else that I talk about suddenly changes your perspective. Like, oh, wow, I didn't see it in that way. Rather than it's not me, childish. That's childish. That's evidence of the fact it's absolutely you. It is absolutely you. See, and this is a beautiful, beautiful thing because we can see firsthand. It's not always just women who do this. It's not. Society has this concept that it's always the woman who has this, oh, victimhood mentality. No, no. I mean, unless you're a woman, I can't really tell. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I can't, I don't know. I don't know if you identify as a woman, a female, or a male. And let me just not even get into that conversation. The lack of willingness to transform. That's going to ensure your life stays exactly the same way that it stays. Like, no, 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 no. See, free spirit, patience, and then upside down Mother Earth. You can be a free spirit and have patience. You can. You can do both. You can do both if you want. And being both can help right side up your earthly existence. For many of us, our Our earthly existence is upside down, ugh, because of the fact that we are not seeing clearly. We're not seeing our worth clearly. We're upside down in our spiritual beliefs. You know, spiritual communities. Don't say it. Just don't say it. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. 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 I'm going to leave the whole spiritual community alone. You got to surrender. Okay. You got to surrender to this process. The spiritual teachings that many of us have taken in as like absolute truths, they've really put us upside down in our perception. And then intuition. That intuition is being affected. You know, when you get so caught up in your perception of what someone else is telling you is appropriate. I'm sorry, I need to get your face off the screen. I don't want to keep looking at that. I want to move forward. Um I don't mean about your face. I'm talking about your comment. Nothing's wrong with your face. I'm talking about the comment. I don't want to keep looking at that and then wanting to continue talking about the same thing. I'm done with that. So, your intuition is being very much distorted if you allow yourself to begin living and speaking in absolutes. It's just, no, it doesn't work that way. Spirituality does not work that way. You have to surrender to this process. You can be as strong as you are, but if your strength is upside down, it's not going to mean shit. It's not going to mean shit. It's not going to do anything for you. It's just not. Let's see. Step out of your comfort zone. But see, it's in reverse. So it's like this refusal, you know, it's a refusal to exit out of that space. If you're comfortable in being toxic, if you're comfortable with spiritual bypassing, if you're comfortable, growth never occurred from comfort. Why does my life keep me uncomfortable all the time? To keep me growing. Why do I keep growing? Because life is fucking uncomfortable. But I'm not a child. Even when I was a child, I didn't have the luxury of behaving like a child. But am I a victim? No. Am I simply a byproduct of my circumstance? Well, if you're saying that I'm a byproduct of my decision of what to do with myself after that circumstance, abso-fucking-lutely. Absolutely. I am a culmination of all of my life lessons that have been learned, properly processed, and properly put away. I'm also a culmination of all of my traumas that are still being sifted through and sorted. I have no shame in that. Why do I have to be ashamed about living a human life and learning about human circumstance through my human life? Yo, I will be the first to say I do have an ego problem, but it's not in the way that you think. My ego keeps me real small, and that's okay. I am not a victim of my ego. It flares up right when I need it to. What do I mean by that? Well, here's the thing. You can't have someone like me who has the abilities that I have thinking that I'm God's gift to everyone else. The amount of fuckery I'd get myself into. So whenever I begin to approach this sense of like I'm untouchable and then my ego flares up and I feel real small and I find my rightful place back where I belong, which is where? In a place of service to other people. But just because I'm here to serve the grand design of creation, because I'm here in a place of service, does not mean I'm going to take people's bullshit. Been there, done that, fuck that shit. I think that's my new mantra. Say it with me. Been there, done that, fuck that shit. I mean it. Been there, done that. Fuck that shit. I will no longer sacrifice myself for things that don't even resonate with me, for things that I've already experienced through my life. Are people manipulating me? Did I need to shut up because someone that clearly appeared younger than me, clearly based on comments, doesn't know what I know? But I need to shut up because I need to not hurt their. No, you come here. This is where the grown folk are. Okay. Grown folk take accountability for their shit. Grown folk need to accept what they started. What's that one rap song? Don't start no shit, won't be no shit. There wasn't no shit just because of one comment. There wasn't no shit just because of one comment. There was shit because of ego. Not my monkeys, not my circus. What I need to do is always remain in the space that I properly existed, a space of accountability and truth. You don't want to be held accountable for your publicly visible comments? Don't comment. There was no argument that needed to happen. None. But see, when you go to someone and you say things where you are flinging accusatory energy towards everyone, honey, you the only one with the shit all over yourself. But then you want to say it's everyone else's fault that you got shit on yourself because you had to throw shit at everybody. When you play in shit, you get covered with shit. And then you can't get upset that someone's like, oh my God, that shit stinks. And be like, why is everyone judging me? No, we're making an observation. Me, myself, and I, we're making an observation. We're observing that it smells like shit. Bullshit, to be exact. Oh my God. I almost choked. I almost choked on my sludge water. Conclusions are within reach, but see, it's in reverse. People are making conclusions, but I don't know that their conclusions are healthy ones. Mm. And there it is. What did you guys just witness? What did you guys just see play out right now? You guys just watched me let someone pull me from center. And that's called accountability. I made a decision. I made a decision to engage. I allowed myself to be pulled from center. That's a decision that I made. Hold on. I got to find an email. No, not an email, a note. Um, all right. This part. Hold on. Thought is a superior force, more powerful than the force of either feeling or action, because it is the instigator of both. The totality of an individual's thoughts is called his thinking body. Its individual function is to utilize the power of thought to guide and direct the currents of feeling in the individual's feeling body and the actions of his acting body. The thinking body can do this because it penetrates through and through the feeling and acting bodies. The thinking body is man's highest gift from his creator. For it and it alone gives him the capacity to become conscious of the law, to understand it, to work in harmony with it, to perceive its manifestations in all his surroundings, in himself, in every cell and molecule of his physical body, in everything that is, and to realize its omnipresence and omnipotence. By becoming conscious of the law, by understanding it, by acting in harmony with it, man becomes a co-creator with God. There is no greater or higher value in the universe. If man fails to become consciously aware of the law, he deviates from it unknowingly, for he is surrounded by fields of inharmonious forces, prompting him to deviate. He just witnessed a deviation. And that is how darkness works. And that's what you just witnessed. Being pulled from center is a successful deviation. Diseases are created by deviations. When we allow people to alter our train of thought, we are handing them the power to create deviations within us. And some would say, like, oh my gosh, she just admitted someone was able to mind F her. No, honey, you're not understanding what I'm saying. It was no one outside of me that mind effed me. I said at the beginning, we see everything as it is filtered through our trauma. I'm not making excuses for myself at all. I understand exactly what I did there. I deviated from center. I deviated from my personal place of personal power over my personal life by choosing to engage in something, someone that had lesser thought than me. It does allow for growth and transformation. And that's why I point this out. How many of you guys realize that? How many of you realize that I deviated from center? Most of you probably didn't. It's evidence of your growth when you can allow yourself to witness the unfoldment as you are unfolding, and to have no shame, no guilt, no hesitation to join in these beautiful divine revelations as they unfold for you. Do I need to feel stupid and ashamed for what? I'm learning, I'm growing about myself. Why would I need to feel stupid and afraid? Afraid that what? You'll see me as a human being? Oh, honey, that's an honor. As someone who's not been viewed as a human uh, since childhood, I've never behaved the way I'm supposed to behave. And I've made it my goal for much of my life to be human. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to finally get into a place that's so powerful that I can have these human experiences and not be ashamed of who witnesses it or how it unfolds. As someone who once suffered tremendously because of the need to control, and to know that that need to control came from a space of lack of awareness of my personal power, of feeling like I couldn't control anything, any aspect of my life. And to be able to exist in spaces where I can't guarantee anything. Excuse me. I can't guarantee anything. I can't control anything. I can't control the way you receive the things that I say. Yet here I am, comfortable as fuck. Oh my God, I love it. That's evidence of me healing. That's proof that I'm not sitting in the same place that I was 15 years ago, 10 years ago, even just 5 years ago. Hell, even just last year. That I'm continuing to grow in ways that my soul dictates and no one else. See, people can say, like, oh my God, someone was able to manipulate me on a live stream. Like, no, that's not how I'm seeing it at all. I'm seeing someone who's fractured be brought to me by my soul, and they were allowed to be the fractured person they are, while I was left free to react, respond in whatever way I felt I wanted to. What a beautiful thing when you see you co-create all the lessons that you're learning. You co-create that. You choose that. You choose that. That person's been irking me for quite a few live streams already. I'm not even going to lie. I want to say for like a couple months at this point. Just like, oh, do you even fucking know what you're saying? But I don't say shit. I don't say shit because I was choosing not to learn that lesson yet. Not yet. Not yet. I needed to go through other things to further develop my maturity so that when I do experience that lesson, as only that person can co-create with me, I will have the capacity to harvest the fruit of that, which I did. Why should I be ashamed that I'm functioning in the way that I was designed to? That I'm learning the lessons I'm asked to learn? Because I need to be perfect? No, you want me to be perfect. I'm already perfectly me, complete with all my attitude and all my little quirks. And I think if you can get to a place where you can exist in that way, where you can recognize, like, oh, that was nothing but me needing to learn something, not because I'm dumb, but because I need to continue to always learn through my whole life I'm going to learn. It's not such a big deal, is it? You and your loved ones are safe. See that? You are safe. You're safe. You're safe within the life you created for yourself. You are safe within your thoughts. It is when you allow someone else to dictate your life that you suddenly become unsafe, that you become an individual that's at the mercy of someone else. Meditate and contemplate in reverse. Did you know that I can't meditate? At least not for myself. I can lead an amazing meditation, but I can't meditate for shit. That one is just for me. What's that tell me? That I'm fake? No. That tells me that I need to stop trying to meditate for myself, because all I'm going to do is frustrate myself and instead utilize my time in a way that can grow me in the way that I'm meant to grow. So what do? Physical workouts, those help me. Lifting weights, that's like a meditation for me. Starting to come back. Yeah, no, that's a workout for me. I mean, that's a meditation for me. Workouts are a meditation for me. What am I trying to get at? You live your life in the way that you are meant to, in the way that helps you to grow, not the way that someone spiritual is telling you need to live. I am so anti-program. It just irks the absolute shit out of me. The absolute shit out of me. It just irks and irks and irks. When people think that everyone else has to live in the way that they said you have to live because they read that somewhere and that person has lots of followers. I don't give a shit. I really don't. I don't give a single shit. And I realized this last night when right before bed, I went and looked at who made that original comment that I commented on. And I was like, oh, geez. I'm going to wake up to bullshit. Maybe I should just delete that. No, fuck that shit. I said what I said. I said what I said, and it needs to be said because my heart tells me I need to speak my truth. And I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. I'm just speaking my truth. So why do I need to delete that? No. No, I'm not deleting that. I'm leaving it there. And so I did. That's me finding the courage to say something life changing, not just life changing for who reads it, but life changing for myself. To be able to communicate some of the things that have shaped me into who I am today. Gosh, that's profound. That's profound. Coming from someone, a lot of people think that I share my entire life publicly. And I just don't. A lot of people think I'm this open book. I'm Piscean. We're made to feel like we're open. Just like you call it the open ocean, right? Last I checked, the ocean has no open spaces. Everything is filled with water. And if you don't know your proper place, it'll fill your lungs and your belly too. And I'll say it again, I'm Piscean. We are designed to feel as though we're open, even when we're not. For me to be able to share certain parts of my journey. It's important for me personally. What a lot of people don't understand is by the time it comes out my mouth, that has been something that has been eating away at me for years, years, before I ever find the courage or maybe just the anger to be able to say it out loud. And people tell you, you shouldn't be angry. Why the fuck not? Why shouldn't I be angry? Have you lived my life? Have you? You know everything about me. That's why you think I shouldn't be angry. What do you think you know about me that you think you have the right to tell me what I can and cannot feel in response to a life that has been fully lived? And I think it's at that point that we begin to understand exactly why we should not allow people to have that type of power over us. Because that's a power that's being given away. When you allow someone to low key tell you that you need to change this, this, and this, and that about you, and that, and that, and that. Motherfucker, that's all you know about me. You want me to change all that, and that's all you know about me? Why are you around me? I had someone who was a friend, right? Who thought they knew, thought they knew. And everything they thought they knew about me, they would eventually find a way to kind of just slide it in there like, you know, you do that, right? Yeah, no, you kind of need to work on that. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Sure. And you know, while I'm working on that, you kind of should get the fuck out of here. For real. Get the fuck out of here because this is not the place for you. You know, you guys have to own your space. You have to allow yourself to really truly own the life that you're living instead of letting these people who have good intentions, you know, find the spiritual courage. That's not what I mean when I say find your courage. Is it because I've been talking about courage? Did that like start up a conversation of is that spiritual courage bullshit my fault? I know a lot of the things that I've said over the past few years Other people have used the concepts, the words, without understanding the root of where that came from. And then they pepper it with this spirituality bullshit. And then it's my words that are used to further shame the very people I came to empower. And so I'm sitting here like, what's the solution? Because I don't want to be part of that. So what's the solution? Do I just stop talking so that there's no other profound things that can be used and twisted, mangled in a way that causes further harm? And Michael's solution, he says, no, I have to speak louder. That I have to speak louder. It's because I don't speak loud enough. That people don't understand where these words come from. That it is part of human behavior to take the words of others and try and take ownership of it yourself, unless you can be caught, unless someone else can prove to you that you got those words from another person. And so the solution, he says, is to speak louder. So that when people hear my words coming out of other people's mouths, anyone who hears it will know. You didn't say that. And that's not what she meant. So then there it is. You have to speak louder. I think we all do. I think all of us have to speak louder and allow ourselves and our truth, the unfoldment, to be witnessed. So that when other people try and own the truth that came out of your mouth, there's no question of where it came from. Do you think Martin Luther King wasn't angry about the world? What do you think fueled him? His anger about the misalignment that he was living through. But he was able to channel that anger, channel it in a way where he could simply be witness. And in being witness, I am no Martin Luther King. I tell you that right from the start. But in being witnessed and speaking loudly, if you ever hear anyone say, I have a dream, you know exactly who said it. exactly who said that. Just like when you say, "And still I rise," Miss Angelou. There's no need to even quote that. You just know. You just know. And her poetry, the most profound poetry, that was ripened through the pain she suffered. We don't know the gravity of the words until we understand the history of the author. This KRS-One, this thug rapper, right? That's just a thug. One of the most profound things I've ever heard came from him. This concept of quoting people, authors, without understanding their history. It was this video that I was watching, and he said that, and I had to stop everything that I was doing, like rewind it. You don't understand the gravity of what the author is speaking on until you understand the gravity of the life they've lived to get them to that thought form. The experiences that developed the perception that gave them that logic. Yes, she was a prostitute, and there's nothing to be ashamed of with that. She earned a living wage to support her child. So people who have lived multiple lifetimes all rammed into one, that carry with them the learning that must be witnessed by others who don't have the courage to live more than one life in one lifetime. And so we find our courage, right? Our courage to speak louder, to know where we're speaking from. Are we speaking from a place of personal power within our own auric kingdom? Or are we speaking from a place of regurgitation as we attempt to dominate someone else? Don't come to me if you're regurgitating, because I come armed with swords. Swords that I've spent my entire life learning how to wield. And just because I learned how to use those swords in silence does not mean the edge of my truth will not cut you down. The greatest warriors hone their craft in silence, in the privacy of the space that is sacred for them. I'm just saying. There's so much more about me that I might not ever share. And none of it because I'm ashamed. All of it because that's for me. And I will no longer be put in a place of over giving more of myself, more of myself, more of myself for what? If I don't feel like it, I will not do it. Because, honey, if you're going to make me suffer just because you didn't get what you want, it's going to be on my terms. My suffering will be on my terms. Boy, oh boy, the peace that arrived the day I decided that. The peace that arrived the day I decided that. My suffering will be my choice. And whether I've disappointed you or not, I no longer choose to suffer. And there's nothing anyone can do to change that decision. Nothing. Not no spiritual concepts, not no none of that shit. Nothing. Nothing. What's worse? Someone who thinks I'm bad because I didn't give, or me thinking I'm bad because here I go over giving again. What's worse? I think me living in my own head, angry with myself, is much worse than what anyone else could say to me, could do to me. What am I trying to say? My peace is not for sale, and it's non-negotiable. You know, I was telling my BFF that if she showed one of the crystals, that someone would want to buy it, right? Because we were talking about crystals together. My BFFs and I were talking about crystals together. We had all gone and watched this crystal auction, right? So we were like in our little group chat the next day, and we were talking about crystals and stuff. And or no, it was that night before I went to bed. And she says NFS, LOL, and I was like, "Are you mad at me?" Because I read that as no fucking shit. And then the next day, I realized, oh, I think that means not for sale. But see, that's the thing. When you come to me thinking that you can purchase my peace, NFS, not for sale, no fucking shit. I'm just saying, no part of me is for sale. I'm not for sale. I don't care what you promise to give me in exchange for that. I'm not for sale. Show the world the real you. And maybe that's what you guys will see more of. Not because it's planned, but because it's time. It's time. It's time to unveil another layer of me in my existence. It's time. It's time for what, Emmy? For me to unveil another layer of my existence. I remember years ago, very, very long time ago, I was asked to assist on a broadcast show as a makeup artist. So I go, and this was going to be broadcast. I don't remember where. This psychic person was being interviewed, and there were quite a few different guests that were going to be there. So the makeup artist, who, she took a liking to me, she asked me to assist her. And so I did. And I'm like talking to everyone, and I guess everyone was really vibing with me. And next thing you know, the psychic was like, she would like to take me on if I'm interested. She would like me to be her student. She would like to mentor me. And I was like, oh my God, really? And so I agreed, because I was like, yes, maybe she can teach me how to turn all this shit off, because I didn't want it. I didn't want it at all, any part of it. And so I went to her house, and we were sitting and talking, and she said she wanted to do this exercise with me. The exercise had something to do with stairs, that I was to close my eyes. She was going to observe me. She's going to guide me. She's going to tell me what to do. And I just do what she asks. And then she's going to ask me questions afterwards, and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, okay. And I didn't think anyone could hypnotize me, right? I'd never been hypnotized. And she didn't hypnotize me. She was just getting started, and she tells me there's like a tower, and when I go inside it, there's stairs, and for me to walk down the stairs and to count how many steps I take, um, until she tells me to stop. And literally within a few seconds, I'm like I opened one eye, like, because I felt uncomfortable. I wasn't sure what was happening, but I felt uncomfortable, and so I opened my eye, and she waited a few minutes. Her eyes were closed too, and I felt like a dick because her eyes were closed and my eyes were open. And I was just like trying to keep my eyes closed so she wouldn't catch me staring at her. And then she was like, "Okay, let's come back up. Let's get back." And then she tells me to open my eyes. I'm like, "Okay." And then she asks me how many steps I took. And I said something around like, I don't know, somewhere between 7,000 to 10,000. And her jaw dropped and her face looked a little bit drained. She goes, "Oh, you mean like 7 steps?" Like, no, thousands. Like I just slid all the way down. She goes, "You reached all the way at the bottom?" I was like, "No, there's still a long way to go." But I was like, that's far. I don't like the Stairmaster. I don't want to climb up all that shit. Are you kidding me? Yeah. And then she told me she didn't know what to do with me after that, which is usually what happened during that period when I was trying to get someone to teach me. And I would never tell them that I want them to teach me so I can figure out how to turn off my abilities. But usually after the first or second interaction, they don't know what to do with me. And then I realized, because she told me most people will go down maybe 2 or 3 steps. And I'm kind of like, but you're basically still at the top. Like, why would you only go down 2 or 3 steps? I took one look down. It was a spiral staircase. And I took one look down. I'm like, that's pretty fucking far. And so I zoomed all the way, like 7 to 10,000 steps. I don't remember anymore the exact number. And then she told me that's each step represents a lifetime. And I looked at her like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, why the fuck would you have me access that much? And then, because I was pissed. I was pissed. Because every single step that I touched, it lit up. That means the connection to that lifetime is reactivated. And I was like, why the fuck would you do that? Well, she didn't know, because the exercise from the book, what book? Oh, the book that she was using to try and pretend like she knew exactly what she was doing when she tried to bring me on as an apprentice of some kind. She'd only gone down 6 or 7 steps. And I was just like, why would you do that? They're all active now. All of those steps are glowing. That means all of those memories are going to come back to me. Why would you do that? Well, she didn't know. I wasn't even halfway down. I wasn't even halfway down. I'd say I was maybe like a 10th of the way down. That many steps already. A 10th of the way. And that's just get to the ground floor. I was aware there was a basement. Yeah. And it was at that point she told me that she couldn't mentor me. And it was a barter, because I don't like to receive things without giving something back, right? I can never allow myself to just receive something and just be like, thank you. No, I always have to give something back of greater value. And because she agreed to mentor me, And I put a lot of value on that. I agreed to build her website. And so when she told me that she needed her website done, she can't continue, but she needs her website done. And she said so in a very disrespectful way. And so I told her off. She didn't expect that. She'd only ever seen me professional, very accommodating, soft spoken. And so she didn't expect that. She didn't know what to say. It was via email. And then a week later, I did finish her website. Because I felt like it was only fair, because that's what I agreed to. Just because she lacked the capacity to mentor me didn't mean I had to withhold that part of the agreement. And so I finished it for her. And I told her, apologies. My indigo coding was triggered by your disrespect, but I don't hold that against you, because clearly you've never met an indigo child before. And that blew her mind. She goes, is that why you feel different? And I said to her, that's part of why. You know what she said? Thank you for having the grace to look past what I don't know. And that stayed with me. That stayed with me. That just because someone doesn't know something doesn't mean I have to become so savage and vicious. I don't have to. Sometimes it's an appropriate response in order to let someone know, like, you're fucking out of hand. You need to quit. You need to check yourself. And when I was able to do that, and she checked herself, then I was able to return back to my baseline, which is not like that at all. It's just not. See, the parts of you that exist within you, they exist for a reason. And when you come from an indigo lineage, we just can't handle the bullshit. And I don't mean we can't handle it like we're weak. I mean, it's not my fucking job to shovel that shit you keep dropping everywhere. Pick it up your damn fucking self. Take a shower and have a seat so we can talk. That's straight up indigo. And as I've lived my life, I've learned I don't have to hide these parts of myself, nor do I have to put everything on display all the time just to what? To prove something? I don't need to prove anything. If you don't see me as I am right now and have an idea of my importance in your life, that's okay. But it's your loss, not mine. It's okay when people don't understand the gravity you intrinsically have. It's their loss, not yours. Hold space only for the people who can help to anchor you in your existence. And this is not about using people. This is about allowing the people who have the capacity to love you in the way you deserve, the way that you have earned, allowing them to have the rightful place in your life that they have earned, rather than thinking that you don't deserve love. And anyone who's giving you love is pitying you. And don't tell me that, I don't think they pity me. Then why the fuck do you do that? You know how I know this? Because I do that. I think that when people give something to me, it's because they pity me.
And maybe it bothers you because you pity yourself. And if you allow yourself to receive pity from other people, it validates the pity, the self-pity that already exists within you. So rather than punishing the people who are trying to hold space for you to heal, why don't you address the actual issue, the wound that causes you to act in that way? I promise you, the person that wants to love you back into your space of wholeness was probably not even present when someone injured you in that way. So we don't have to continue to exist as nothing but a living, walking trauma response anymore. At least we don't have to force ourselves to. If you choose a different way to exist, you absolutely can. But exist loudly. Speak with authority over yourself and your life. Own your spaces, own your decisions. Have the courage not just to say something that's life changing, but to live in a life changing way. That is spiritual courage, not the bullshit that's now being peddled. That is spiritual courage, where you can go beyond the pain that's teaching you about yourself, and you can begin implementing what you've already learned. There's no point in learning if we're not going to apply it into our day-to-day life. So start applying it. I got to get going, guys. I do want to remind everyone this is a very important project that I have going on. If you'd like to be considered for the remote healing project, please submit your information to this link right here. Okay. soulworksynergistics.com /RHP submission. Okay. Submit your inquiry there. I'm looking for people who have medical documentation of pretty pronounced situations. If you would like to be part of, hold on. Where is it? Oh, here. This right here. Oh, it's right here. If you would like to be part of a live event to help alleviate physical pain, I have the capacity to do that in a group setting. You can join here. Oh, hold on. Wrong one. You can join here. It's a live event to alleviate chronic pain. Go to k33academy.com. There's a link right there that will help you to alleviate. It's like palliative care. And that is a group session. There's two types of options for that ticket. You can have a ticket to be part of the meditation, which will help with that chronic pain, or you could purchase the enhanced ticket, which will take you to a second event. Okay, the two-part event, private event, where I will actually be working on your morphogenetic template. Okay, and we'll begin the beginning portions of how to actually address that causation. So there's a lot of different things that I have going on at this point, a lot of different events that I have going on. If you would like to see what events I have going on, everything that is current, it gets put on soulworksynergistics.com /projects. This is where you can see everything. Okay. Ben Beeler says, Emmy, do you have a connection to Harpy Eagles? There is one that has been hanging out in the last month of videos. Over there on this side, Ben. Is it on this side of the screen? You want to come on the live stream real quick? I would love to know more. I gotta go though. I'm familiar with what it is, with who it is. Is there any message that anything else you'd like to share, Ben? Just super curious. No, Ben sees you. I told you. He's like, I'm still laying in bed drinking coffee. Well, thank you so much, Ben. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you want to privately message my business page, if there's anything that you feel you need to share, if it's been pestering you, definitely just, I was going to say face palm it back into my direction. Like, just go back to her. Stop bothering me. But I don't know that that would go over very well. He said you look like a harpy. Just say it. Thank you guys so much. If you could please give this video a thumbs up, I would definitely appreciate that. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. If you are on Facebook, please share this out. Allow you guys. Just allow your life to unfold. Allow yourself to develop in the way that you're meant to. Allow the goodness to come back to you. Allow yourself to live in your peace. Fuck everything else. Been there, done that, fuck that shit. That's our motto. I love you guys. I'll see you again very